Well, if you've tried any keto recipes before, you've been sorely disappointed to get your burger buns. Now guys, here is a recipe that you will not be disappointed about because I've tried this that many times and I can tell you that it is absolutely outstanding. G'day guys, it is Chris back here again for the Low Carb Life channel, and today I am making some of the finest bread rolls that are low carb and keto friendly. These particular ones that we're making today don't get really mushy, and they're not crumbly, and they're not eggy, most importantly, because I love my eggs, but I hate making low carb breads when they're tasting eggy. It's just absolutely terrible. No one really likes that. So I've made a recipe here that completely avoids that eggy flavor, although it's still using 4 eggs or part of 4 eggs as well. Once you're biting into these guys, you are going to absolutely love them, and you're going to wish that you had your hands free to go and click that like button. And then you're going to wish that you weren't so greasy from your keto fried chicken that we've just made to click that subscribe button as well. So go and do it now. Do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and click that button so you don't miss out on any of the awesome recipes that we have coming up. I'm going to do a whole bunch of test chicken recipes soon. Crispy chicken tests. Guys, I'm looking forward to it, and I know you will enjoy it. So hit that subscribe button and let's do it together now. Now, low carb buns, guys, they don't need to be low flavor buns, all right? These things are absolutely delicious. They're very filling and they are fantastic. So you can see a bit of honey there. Don't stress out about the honey. A lot of you guys have put comments on the video before about the sugar in honey. I know it's nearly 100% sugar, but the yeast is going to eat all that up, so we're not going to be stressed about that. They fart out CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and it's going to make our buns fluffy. So let's get around the yeast, give them a pat on the back for eating all that sugar so we don't have to, and go from there. Thanks to the sponsors of this show, Highwood Honey, for providing the delicious honey that fed our yeast. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bowl and I'm going to preheat it full of hot water. The reason I'm preheating the bowl is because we're getting down to a very chilly 8 degrees centigrade here in Brisbane, and I want to make sure the yeast stays as warm as possible for as long as possible. So get that heat into the bowl so it stores that in there, and then we're going to empty it out. Once we've got that emptied out, we're going to get a little bit more warm water in there for the yeast. You want it about blood temperature, not much hotter because you'll kill them, and we need them to work. Alright guys, next we're going to add our 2 teaspoons of yeast and our 2 teaspoons of honey. So I generally try and get the yeast in first, so it's not got a massive amount of osmotic pressure on it before, so we give that a bit of a mix. Let those bad boys just absorb a bit of water, you know, go for a bit of a swim. Look, it is cold in Brisbane at the moment, so them going for a bit of a warm swim in a warm bath, I think they're going to be pretty happy in there, to be honest. I don't think they're going to worry about the fact that they're going to be killed in the oven soon. So let's get our teaspoon of course, nothing but the best Highwood honey from The Gap. Actually, I happen to know the people who make this, and I'm actually related to them, so there you go. But they make some fine honey. Now guys, those of you who just see me putting honey in there and start bloody getting your panties in a bunch about low carb diets and sugar, the yeast are going to eat the sugar inside our bread, and they're going to create gas bubbles, which is going to give us the nice soft fluffiness that we want. So honey is a natural sugar. This is not going to kick you out of ketosis or whatever, so it's going to be fully fermented by the time we put it in. So give that a hell of a good stir, and you know, these yeasties, they didn't know what they signed up for. This, for all they know, they were going to have an easy ride, but obviously now they've entered the Low Carb Life theme park, and this is the Tower of Terror, or the washing machine of suffrage. So we're just going to put that to the side and deal with our other ingredients. Alrighty guys, let's grab a huge bowl and we're going to mix in all of our dry ingredients. So we've got 168 grams of almond flour here. Next we've got our 83 grams of flaxseed meal. Next we're going to pop in 18 grams of our psyllium husk, which we've got. This stuff is really sticky once you mix it in. And then we're going to pop in some of our xanthan gum. Now, I've learnt my lesson after the tortilla episode, and I'm going to be very, very careful about what I do here. So I'm only going to use 2 teaspoons, and that is for sure. Chook's even bought me a little measuring thing here, and that does say TSP, just for the video record, just in case something goes wrong here. I still like my way of not measuring stuff, but stuff tends to turn out better if you do measure it when you're doing baking, apparently. So there you go. You learn something new every day. So we got 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's piff that in. That's about nearly there. Alright. That'll do. Teaspoon. Yep, that's good. Alright, a 1/4 teaspoon of some cream of tartar. Now, that sounds good. Let's get that in there. Oh, it's a newie. Yeah. Oh, good. So what do you do when it breaks like that? Now, that is wise. Look at that yeast. I'm absolutely frothing, and so are they. So they're starting to eat the sugar. You know they're alive. You know they're going to be good. So if your yeast is not frothing, guys, you probably need to get some more yeast, or your water was too hot or too cold and they've not activated. So make sure your yeast looks like that and go from there. Give your bloody dry ingredients a bit of a mix there, because what we want to do is get that baking powder really mixed around in between everything, so when we put in a bit of our acidic based stuff, it's going to froth up evenly. So grab a bowl that you think's clean, but it's actually disgustingly dirty. Give it a quick wash and then get back to me once you've done that. Onto the wet ingredients. Excellent. Now, grab your eggs. We're going to strain them out. We're going to strain that yolk out, and we're going to put them in another bowl. You could use that for mayonnaise if you like. And if you don't like mayonnaise, there's something wrong with you. What's up? Go to a doctor. She's so frothy now that it looks like a bloody beer, and I'm tempted to bloody drink it. Look at that yeast. She's pretty happy. I think it's a she. And we're going to get that into the eggs with the rest of our wet ingredients. Get your vinegar in. Guys, you want to be quick with this. You don't want the eggs getting vinegarized too much. So get your butter in there as well. And then we're going to blend the life out of this thing, so it's all mixed together well. Now you'll see a crafty Turk move here. I've pulled out half of my dry ingredients. So when I put the egg mixture in with the acid, the bicarb soda or the bloody, baking powder will froth up, and we're going to lose a lot of air here. So you want to mix it in early, get that belted into each other so it is mixed quite well. Then we're going to put the rest of the dry stuff in, and that still has baking powder to react with the acid, which is going to give us lots of bubbles. So you want to minimize the abuse that you give to your dough, even though I just kept plowing on and blended the absolute hell out of it. But while I'm waffling on about that, I just remembered that we had put yeast in there, so that's going to make it fluffy anyway, so don't stress about it. She'll be right. Give your pan a spray with oil so it doesn't stick, and if it does stick, that's your problem. I've already had that problem before and it sucked. So make sure it doesn't happen to you. I'm giving you fair warning. Now, it's obvious that I'm very careful with my measurements and everything here, so I've dissected half of the dough into a 3-ball section. So once we've got them patted out and sliding down the pan on the angle, we're going to get them ready and flattened out a little bit so they are looking like buns, because we're going to let them proof and they're going to expand over the next hour or so, and we're going to have them looking like real buns, and they're going to be delicious. Look, I'm going to give them a cheeky massage with a bit of water on my hand so it doesn't stick to me. I feel like this gets them more excited. The yeast, giving them a little massage, they're going to work harder for you if you really do this. So I recommend getting them a little massage each. Make them more round if you can so they don't come out looking lopsided and weird. And then once you do that, we're going to spray the Glad wrap with a bit of oil so it doesn't stick to the buns. Rip that off carefully, and we're going to let that sit on top of the heating oven for about an hour to warm up and expand. The yeast is still doing its work in there. Look at them, they're giant. And we're going to pull that off to have a cheeky look underneath. And honestly, guys, these look pretty bloody fantastic. We're going to give them a bit of an egg wash here, so we can get some sesame seeds stuck to the top. Get yourself an eyeful of that. They're not even cooked yet, and they look stunning. Honestly, if you put a bit of makeup on that and a nice dress, you'd bloody have a good time. Now, solemn time is upon us, guys. Please join me in remembering a great icon of the entertainment community, the burger bun yeasts. They died yesterday in a hot oven and trauma complications from repeated pokes in their dough. Now, the yeast crew was buried in a lightly greased coffin. The yeasties rose quickly in show business, but their later life was filled with a lot of mixed emotions. They were not considered very smart cookies, and that's because they were actually buns, but they did waste a lot of dough on half-baked schemes. Despite being a little flaky at times, they were still a crusty old bunch and were considered quite a positive role model for millions of other yeasts. This clan of yeast is survived by their collective wife, which was Play-Doh, and 3 children, John Doe, Jane Doe, and Dosey Doe. Plus they had one in the oven. Our yeast was also survived by his elderly father, Pop Tart. The funeral was held at about 180 degrees for about 30 minutes. So after the yeast funeral, I was pretty happy to see how they looked after they were dead, and I think you're going to agree with me that they look pretty damn tasty, to be honest. I don't know I killed them, but I think the whole yeast is still looking for me. Over the years of making these rolls, guys, I've learned a few things. Pull them off as soon as you can onto a wire rack so they can dry on the bottom. The steam is pretty intense, so if you can, get them off so they don't get soggy, and then appreciate them. Have a good look at them. They look amazing. Look at those sesame seeds, crispy and delicious. Alright guys, here is the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's cut into this bad boy. Down the guts. Alright, so texture's pretty good on the cutting. Not too bad, not too hard at all. She's still warm. And we're going to open that up. Don't get steam on yourselves, watch out. Look at that. Fluffy, airy. I don't know if you can see that, but that is pretty damn bubbly to me. And I've made these quite a few times. They are extremely fluffy when you actually eat them. So that is going to be amazing for any kind of burger you can make. So you can make chicken zinger burgers from KFC, you can make Big Macs from Macca's or McDonald's, or you can make a bloody just normal burger. Just do what you want with it. They're bloody awesome. Get around them, like, subscribe, and enjoy the burger.